Zach Galifianakis calls out Rogan's comedy cult. Now, that is a name I have not heard in years.
That have had the president on now, they don't do their court gesture. They don't do it. They just, they suck up to him.
Yeah.
So the comedians
Yep.
that have had,
Hey, that's Conan. What is this, 2010? What is going on here?
that are podcasters that have had Trump on, they're not doing their job.
Oh, no, dude. Not the Trump derangement syndrome.
It's tough now because the podcasters have become just ass kissers for the politicians, right? They don't challenge them. They just like, huh?
They all look so fucking busted. They really do. They need to start a 7-step skincare routine. They need to be perineum sunning. They need to be icing their balls. They need to be taking cold showers, then hopping in the infrared sauna.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Alright, so it looks like the actor and comedian Zach Galifianakis, who you probably recognize from the Hangover movies or Between Two Ferns, just went absolutely ballistic on all the podcasters in the Rogan sphere who interviewed Trump before the elections in 2024. Because Zach Galifianakis is also a comedian who's had politics.
Zach Galifianakis low-key goated? Is Zach Galifianakis him? I don't know. Dude, he's 56 years old. What?
Politicians on his show in the past, as he had Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton on his show Between Two Ferns way back in the mid-2010s.
You see, Between Two Ferns seems to be the standard for what a lot of gotcha type of sit-down shows then became. Was he the OG? He might have been, because I see a lot of people copying his style.
But if you've seen those already, then you'd obviously know that he approached these interviews way differently.
And for that reason, props. Kind of like him. He is the OG. He's just like me for real. Do you know how many cultural references your boy has started? Hold on. Let me glaze myself for a second, okay? Capri Sun, Natty Daddy, Need I Go On? Puss Boy, that's all coming from the Third Eye of Truth, kick.com/Philion.
Then Rogan, Schultz, and Theo Vaughn, as his interviews were entirely based around comedy, while the Trump podcasts were pretty much just hours of...
Hey, that's the guy that no longer is with them. That's the guy that got ran off the internet because of popping that pussy in the white boy frat houses. Well, it's probably because Trump put them under a spell here, right? Tucker Carlson speaks of this. When you're around Trump, you just can't help yourself but glaze. Everyone is doing Andy Kaufman, which goes all the way back to like the 70s.
Propaganda slop. So for him to see these so-called comedians who have quote-unquote comedy podcasts...
No, he just wants to focus on comedy, nothing to do with his wife. Yep,
doing absolutely zero comedy while glazing Donald Trump to no end was an absolute disgrace and a complete embarrassment to...
I just think they're all kind of feminine, dare I say gyno-coded. That's why I like Tim Dillon, because he'll just shit on somebody and say, yeah, friend of the show.
Comedy world.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it. I won't go into it, but I do think that was particularly helpful to you when you did your famous Between Two Ferns interview with Obama, because...
It's crazy a gay guy is less feminine than Democrat podcasters. Literally.
You're the only person that gave him, I mean, I know that this in any way was just you doing your comedy, but you were so rude as that person. Right. And it's hilarious because I don't think anyone's talked to, certainly a sitting president, or even in this time, no one's talked that way.
Well, all
to
the
a
podcasters
president.
that have had the president on now, they don't do their court gesture. They don't do it. They just, they suck up to him.
Yeah.
So the comedians that have had...
He's got a point. Because even the king sits before the court jester. See, the jester is the most powerful person in the realm because he's the one that is free to criticize the king.
That are podcasters that have had Trump on, they're not doing their job.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the job of a comedian. You are to challenge.
Yeah.
You are to make uncomfortable. You're not to sit there and fake laugh.
Yep.
That is not the job of the court jester.
Yeah.
Period. So
the fact that he's even saying the word court jester makes me agree with him. He knows his role.
There's a difference. Somebody yesterday was talking to me about that, about, political influence through comedy and all that stuff. I'm more interested in the comedy first.
Me too.
You know,
Yeah.
So right off the bat, you can tell that there's a huge difference between Zach Galifianakis and the other clowns who are just LARPing as comics. Because Zach correctly
I'm sure many a jester were kicked to fuck when they said something too close to home. Oh yeah. But that is the risk. That is the burden that they carry.
defines being a
So that's literally me, by the way. Chat, this is you enjoying the stream, and this is me when the stream shuts off. Just know, all that I do for you, I sacrifice part of my life to make you chuckle. It's the price I'm willing to pay on kick.com/Philion.
comedian as being the court jester, while the Rogan Sphere guys compare it to being the philosopher. Like, that's how much these guys don't understand comedy. So to be honest, Zach Galifianakis is giving them way too much credit here by calling them comedians. Because they clearly take themselves way too seriously, and they think so highly of themselves that they'd never even consider to do their act with the president on their podcast. So before we move along with the Conan interview here, I think it's important to compare Zach's political interviews side by side with Andrew Schultz's and Joe Rogan's. Because once you see how different they really are, you'll absolutely know
Why is Hillary kind of fucking...
where Zach's coming from. Like, the sheer amount of bootlicking these guys did was just out of this world. I mean, it was almost like they were so starstruck that they pretty much forgot that they consider themselves as professional
I can hear the laugh echoing in my fucking head. Fucking Waluigi over here. Holy shit.
funny guys.
And then others would say, oh, he rambled. I don't ramble. If I start a story, what you do is you weave things and you do it. You have to have certain things. You need an extraordinary memory because you have to come back to where you started.
Yes.
You always, a weave is only good
They
if
would
you
give you
come
credit
back.
for that.
Yeah, it's true.
That you could go all the way over here and then
I
get
can
back.
go so far here or there, and I can come back to exactly where I started. Now,
Yo, Trump is absolutely mogging them, bro. The Orange Wizard. There's levels to this shit. The Necromancer.
someday when you
My impression was spot on, though. I know. Run it back. I didn't pre-watch this shit.
don't come back to where you started,
You're Biden.
then you say,
One of the beautiful things about you is that you freeball. Like, you get out and you do these huge events.
Yeah, Trump's not going to let you hit, little bro.
And you're just talking, and you're making. We've highlighted you on the show many times when you did this Biden impression where he's walking around, he doesn't know what he's doing. It's funny. It's stand up. It's funny stuff.
Because I think Trump is basically a comedian. Well, there's a natural... He doesn't have to try. And people can smell the try-hard nature, which is inherently not funny. That's why, yes, says crazy shit, but guess what? That's off the dome piece. There's no filter. That is called riffing. And people try to riff. You can't try to force a riff. Riff happens naturally.
But it's like you and you were making fun of Elon one time. You were doing an Elon impression. It's great. You have like comedic instincts. Like when you said to Hillary, "You'd be in jail." Like it's great timing. Yeah. But it's like,
see, that's rich because Trump is inherently funnier than Joe Rogan, who calls himself a stand-up comedian. So yeah, you got stand-up instincts, kid. It's like, dude, I know.
that kind of stuff was unheard of as a politician. Like no one had done that.
So the presidential meat riding they put on display here was just beyond human comprehension. And in comparison to Zach's interview with Obama, I think you can understand why Zach's just a little bit frustrated with these wannabe comedians interviewing the president, as Zach's interview was more so how a comedian should really approach these things.
First question. In 2013, you pardoned a turkey. What do you have planned for 2014?
We'll probably pardon another turkey. We do that every Thanksgiving. Was that depressing to you, seeing one turkey kind of taken out of circulation, a turkey you couldn't eat?
You said if you had a son, you would not let him play football. What makes you think that he would want to play football? What if he was a nerd like you?
Do you think a woman like Michelle would marry a nerd? Why don't you ask her whether she thinks I'm a nerd?
You mean Michael? You mean Michael Obama?
Could I?
No, I'm not going to let her near you.
So clearly, Zach's show got these politicians to play into the bit with him.
Why are you gay?
Showed people who didn't even support them back then that they're at least able to drop the act and make fun of themselves for a few minutes. He also didn't try to seriously discuss their policies with them because that's simply way out of his scope. He just did
Who cares?
comedy because he's a comedian. Then, on the other hand, with Rogan and Schultz and even Akash Singh, rest in peace, not only did they brown-nose Trump to no end, but they also try to be like pseudo-political journalists, which unsurprisingly just resulted in Trump taking control of the conversation, as they have apps.
You know what the problem is? Podcasts are simply too much content. So there's going to become a certain point, and it's going to happen real quick, that the pee-pee and poo-poo fart jokes and the raunchy humor is just stale. So how do you audience capture people? How do you have to dip your toes in what people, you got to fish where fish are, okay? You have to understand that the world is hyper-political and polarized, and that they are economically, financially, emotionally, I had a brain fart, now I can't think of it. I got it, incentivized to appeal to people that are interested in these topics.
Absolutely zero experience in that field.
Like, listen to Cumtown, okay? That is an inherently unserious podcast. And it's just that. And like that show ran its course and it was funny. But then every podcast tried to copy them. But they're not funny. And Cumtown ended because like they ran out of shit to talk about.
So Trump essentially took advantage of that and used their huge platforms to convince their massive
Stavros is brain rotted by leftist slop though. I know. So is Adam Friedland.
Audience that he's actually just a great guy who wants the best for America.
And it's kind of ironic that the funniest of the three is the least successful out of them. The actual funny guy, the true court jester Nick Mullen.
Of course, these hacks never even dared to bring up something controversial for Trump like...
Isn't that podcast really just one guy being funny and the other guy's just laughing at him? Yes.
The Epstein files. Because A, they were way too scared to. B, because Trump...
Damn, first you were on the front page, now you're regularly popping up in the Just Chatting on the front page. That's because here at Third Eye Global, kick.com/Philion, we have motion. Like, I've been telling you guys for actually a year now. First we have motion, then we have momentum, and then the movement is actualized. We are this close to momentum. This fucking close. Mog.shop dropping real soon. When motion turns into momentum, that's when you're going to be late. But you're still early to the stream if you go to kick.com/Philion. I get questions all the time, and it's just like, I can't hold your hand, bro. Philion, where are you streaming? Where are you? I want to watch you live. Kick.com/Philion. Type that in. Then type in Philion, and you'll see me live. Every day. I never take days off. I never slack.
Would probably get all butthurt about it, and C is because Trump's team probably gave them a list of things to talk about with him, which is most likely the case and would be super ironic considering they're all about free speech, right? And Zach Galifianakis touches on this idea a little more in this recent Conan podcast. Because in Zach's Hillary Clinton interview, apparently Hillary's team wanted Zach to steer away from mentioning her email controversy, but Zach actually turned them down and said he'd have to mention it with Hillary if she came on, which they ended up agreeing to.
Well, this has been a lot of fun, Mrs. Clinton. We should stay in touch. What's the best way to reach you? Email?
Fine, but
that was pretty good. That got a chuckle. That got me.
But the comedy has to come first. I remember when I interviewed Hillary Clinton, and I could tell she didn't want to be there, and I totally get that. I get it. But before we had set that whole thing up, they wrote back, well, you can't bring up those emails. And I go, well, we don't have to do the interview. That's fine. We won't do it.
Yeah.
When you tell powerful people no, it's crazy. They were like, okay, we'll do it. Well, you can ask. Yeah. Because it's not that important to me to do it the way they want to do it. You have to, if you're going to come in a comedy.
As a creative, you must maintain the frame. The second somebody gives you a deliverable, oh, you can't talk about, I'm the court jester. You are my court. Shut the fuck up and let me do my job. I don't need you. You need me.
Get it the way we want to do it. Also, what a
I see this all the time.
That's why I can't stand any sort of institution such as Hollywood, big media, newspapers. They're all they're watered down to the dumbest slug in society.
And I've seen it for years and years and years and years. People not understanding that if they go to the supposedly vulnerable place and have a sense of humor about it, it is magical for them. People see they have a sense of humor. They see that they can take a joke. I mean, no one walked away from your interview with Obama and thought, wow, you really showed him. He got to be hilarious. He sat there and entered your world of, being intentionally ignorant about who he is, what he does, cutting him off, being insanely rude, and gave it back.
That's how you should actually operate. The true feral, unbridled man. Impulsive, acting on gut instincts, intuition. It's funny, Zach Galifianakis had to play a character for people to enjoy the skit. What does that say about our world?
You in equal measure, and you looked at it and you thought, this is a great piece of comedy. And I know it reflects well back on the president. And our current president would do well to understand that, if he let himself be the butt of
This is basically just a TDS support group therapy podcast. Many such cases.
the joke.
That's impossible.
It's humanizing. I know it is impossible.
You wouldn't do it with him.
It wouldn't work. No.
It wouldn't
Retard maxing is peak human expression. Always has been.
work.
So yeah, I mean, it's just so funny that Joe Rogan and Andrew Schultz consider Trump to be the funniest president of all time, with them even going as far as to say that he could be a comedian in another lifetime, because just like them, Trump gets super sensitive when anyone says anything critical about him. Like he's just not able to joke about himself even slightly. But according to Joe Rogan's definition of comedy, Trump fits the bill. I mean, he loves making fun of marginalized groups, using slurs, and overall punching down, which as you might know by now is just comedy gold for the average mothership attendee. After all, that is right-wing comedy, and according to Zach Galifianakis, it stinks.
There's also the math of comedy to me sometimes where the punching down
I might be the funniest person alive. I might be top jester. I might...
that the right seems to do something, and I don't want to get political here, but that's not as funny to me as taking on the powerful. Like the math of it doesn't work for me. Like to take on some marginalized people, make fun of that. Listen, I'm all for humor. I can defend it, but that mathematically. So
oh, here we go. The soy. Where is Zach Galifianakis from? If it's California, let's get a Wikipedia. North Carolina, interesting. That threw me for a loop. Greek Orthodox, he's actually top Chad. This might be him. Damn, he might be the coolest guy ever.
That's why you don't see a lot of comedy that comes out of the right. It's hard to do. I'm not suggesting you cannot. It's just difficult to do because of the dynamics.
So you have this, but then you have Bert Kreischer, who just absolutely mogs. Drinks beer, has no regard for anything, does his set, tells the machine joke for the 59th time, prints money. Bert Alert is the butt of every joke ever. Alcoholism plus testosterone therapy. I mean, that's perfectly balanced as all things should be. Is comedy right or left? Tell you what, I've never met a funny liberal in my life. No.
Yeah.
Greg Gutfeld.
Oh,
What a hilarious comment.
You got him. I don't know if they'll show up to work again.
So he calls out Greg Gutfeld directly here, but this absolutely applies to
Let's just say liberals aren't very liberal with the laughs or the jokes.
Majority of the Rogan Sphere comics too. Because when they do get up on stage and do their material...
Why does it need to be right or left? Not everything needs to be polarized. Because we do this song and dance, man, where everyone's just like, oh, well, I can't support someone who's a chud. Well, he ideologically doesn't align with me. Because people are retarded, okay? Once you grow up and you realize, like, what people are working with between their two ears, similar to, like, between the two ferns, this is broken for like 98% of people. 2020 happened. Dr. Fauci came in. We got the COVID patch update. You had to pick a side. This world is black and white.
real, it's a truly, truly miserable experience.
Everything is spiritually Israel and Palestine. Don't you see? It's red versus blue, always has been.
As they mostly just punch down with super unoriginal stereotypes that you first discovered in middle school, which isn't even necessarily a right-wing thing. I mean, everyone can be a hack, but this kind of punching down...
Yeah, but like, most of that is funny. And it gets funnier because it pisses people off. Like, you can't say that. Now all I want to do is say that. In fact, I want to step on the gas. I want to double and triple down.
Seems to happen primarily with right-wing comics, which most people see as completely backwards and lazy, because it's easier to punch...
Knock, knock. Who's there? An Indian.
...people who are already down instead of the bigger figures like the corrupt billionaires and people in power. But of course they'd never do that because they're literally friends with them. Like Joe Rogan never in a million years would poke fun at Peter Thiel, and it's completely pathetic.
Barbara Walters gives you a big hug. They all loved you. They were all talking about how you're you might be conservative in
I'm just talking fucking shit. Ew!
Your financial positions, but you're very liberal.
$25. Nee.
Yes.
Real socially, they were talking about you in such a favorable light. The audience was cheering.
But anyways, another point I'd like to make here before the Rogan fanboys get their panties in a knot in the comments is that there's obviously a difference between the interview styles of Between Two Ferns and a long-term podcast like JRE. I mean, Between Two Ferns is anything but a podcast. If anything, it's more of like what inspired Sunday Conversations with Caleb Presley. But regardless of how different the show...
I don't know, dude. It's all fake and gay. Everyone's... You know, it's like also cringe. You know what pisses me off? You know, it's like real, like when you have a guy who has like level 1 comedy instincts. He's like a theater kid, and then he gets picked up by like a network like Barstool Sports, Morning Brew, and then they have to do this song and dance as like a side character. Meanwhile, Philion's been in the trenches for a fucking decade, doing it himself, loyal to no one. That's crazy. That's like they're just not, dude. I don't think you guys understand. They don't make them like me anymore. Find me a schnoottuber who does it all. You can't. They need to be financially backed by some gay network. They are not a lone wolf solo Chad.
It's still not an excuse for just how bad the Trump podcasts really were. Because it's like, if these guys are the professional comedians that they claim themselves to be, then you'd expect them to at least have a smidgen of jokes laced into the podcast. But believe it or not a single joke was found in the multiple hours of Joe Rogan's, Andrew Schultz's, or even Theo Vaughn's podcast with these figures. So these guys are obviously podcasters first, who are merely grifting as stand-up comedians.
I'm grifting it. Call me Griftion, right-wing grifter, Philion, bro. Yo, Reddit's been real quiet about your boy. I wonder if they're okay. Oh, every day for a while, they were like, oh my god. Absolutely bunker busters going off here at Third Eye Global. I miss right-wing Phil, too. Hold on, he's back. Uh-oh.
I would say the fact that, like, I'm not leaning into one vertical means I get...
And I think I'm going to vote for Trump. And I think I'm going to vote for Zoran Mamdani. Oh, I think it's time for Biden to be in office. Now we're grifting it.
Hate from every single group, right? And it's like, right, it's important to have these conversations. Like, I'm positioned in a certain way. Obviously, we had Trump on the podcast. I've had like 5 Democratic politicians on the podcast. I've had 1 Republican, but I'm viewed in this certain way because it's the easiest way to get clicks, and my name is clickability and whatever. I don't know, like, sorry.
He has one ability I don't have.
Yeah.
He sleeps. He can sleep. This guy goes on a beach and he lays down on one of those, 6 ounce. They weigh 6 ounces and you can't lift them. They're meant for.
Another humiliating aspect of these Trump podcasts was that after they gave him their full support and helped him get
this is old because Akash is still there, yeah.
Elected. They immediately flip-flopped on Trump after seeing how he's now straight-up speedrunning thermonuclear war, protecting Bibi and the Epstein class, and doing major damage to Americans without any remorse.
Dude, who gives a fuck? Get your money up, and then maybe you can get your funny up.
Like it's usually respectable.
There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. Therefore, getting mad over anything geopolitically is a losing game. You are a slug, a bug man destined for a cell. You are a slave to the Matrix.
Mature to be able to admit that they made a mistake with who they voted for and change directions after realizing, but the fact that Trump was in office doing these same things for 4 years straight before going on to these podcasts just shows you that they're flip-flopping in order to save face more than anything else.
You have to decide which team are you on.
I hate that.
It's so stupid. I'm
You
politically
need to be taking the Phil pill.
homeless. I've always been political. I've been politically homeless for a long time.
Dude, we need the Joe Rogan of the left.
And don't get me wrong, Zach Galifianakis.
Dude, people are like, yo, Philion, are you a leftist? Or are you a right-wing grifter? I'll tell you what, my shit definitely swings to the left if you catch my drift. So according to that, oh, I'm a leftist. Oh, yeah.
Galifianakis let Obama plug his policies in the short
Yeah, I'm a leftist. I wear my cock to the left.
interview he did with him on Between Two Ferns 2. But
I'm gonna start saying that. Yeah, dude, how could I be how could I be how could I be a right-wing grifter when my dick is a leftist? Oh!
This very day, Zach is actually fine with that, which he touched on in the Good Ones podcast he did a few weeks ago when asked if he felt implicated in helping show Obama in a positive light.
Do you feel at all implicated by having Obama on Between Two Ferns?
Implicated?
In so much as like that to some people might be like, is this a real interview? What is this doing? Is this comedy or is this mess? In so much as it is a sort of abstract space of not clear lines of, is this entertainment or is this a political message?
What did I do with your gifted subs money? I donated it to Zoran Mamdani's political campaign.
It's tough now because the podcasters have become just ass kissers for the politicians, right? They don't challenge them. They just like, yeah, that's cool, right? And that I don't want to do. Like we challenged Obama. We made it uncomfortable for him in a way that was done for comedic effects. Yes, so he could get his message off for healthcare. Yes, that was a thing that he was doing. But I first need to entertain people. That's my whole thing. And to see a goofy comedian with a very well-respected gentleman.
Someone has to pay for the free bus. That's right.
It's our president. I mean, it kind of writes itself already.
So funny enough, by roasting Obama and having him roast Zach back and act in an overall rude sort of way, it ironically made both Zach Galifianakis and Barack Obama more likable. And then in contrast, by huffing Trump's farts and praising him for whatever he had to say that day, it came off like it was a staged propaganda event pretending to be a natural conversation. I mean, just take a look at the way Akash Singh was doing everything.
You know what the problem is? These are all side characters. They're not main characters. I could tell. They give huge side character energy. And some people are just going to be side characters in this world, and that's just the way it is. Me? I'm main character. You? Totally a main character.
He could to make Trump out to be this fantastic, genuine dude.
But with life, it takes a lot longer to find out the end result.
fruition. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we said you're a great father up top. First thing you say is, I've got great kids. You didn't take credit. And then your entire answer, and I thought this was really cool, your entire answer is about how great your kids are. That was a very cool thing.
Thank you. That's very nice. I think I like this interview. I think it's right.
Do NPCs know that they're NPCs, or are they just hard-coded? They can't rotate an apple in their head.
Wait, congratulations. I hear your show is like is crazy monster success.
We're doing pretty good. We're very we're
They don't know. They haven't unlocked those dialogue options yet. I really like Zohan, huh? Hope it works out for you and your buddy Zohan. Dude, I love Zohan.
your presence.
It's really good. And
so yeah, it was pretty satisfying hearing a guy like Zach
Dude, New York has never been better, with Mr. Osama bin Laden as our mayor.
Galifianakis go after these meatheads in 2 different podcasts. Because this crew is everything wrong.
Have you seen Joe Rogan hit a spinning back kick? How are you going to call him a meathead?
With modern day comedy. But do let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe.
That's a funny picture. Is that real?